All right, here's a quick video of my game project. This is a massively multiplayer, or at least it will hopefully be massively, but it is definitely multiplayer online role-playing game. This is in the stage of making the game systems work, not worrying at all basically about visuals. So you're going to see a bunch of placeholder assets and default animations and all kinds of junk that doesn't look very good, but the focus has been on the core systems. I'm not going to run through everything today, but I do want to kind of show you how the world works and kind of how the character controller works and things like that. And there definitely will be some like bugs and oversights and things like that because it's, we're just a few months in, which is not much for an online game. So it does run in dedicated server mode with a separate client. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to be the server and the client, so I'm running in host mode. Spawned into a world here. We can look around, we can move around. We're actually at the corner of the world, and there's no like, you can't go past this stuff. So that's just the edge of the world, and you can totally fall off and fall for infinity. Um, the world is procedurally generated, but it's been pre-generated. And it's really just a testing ground for the systems and that sort of stuff. But I'll show you a little bit of the world generation stuff later in the video. We have our health, mana, etc. We have our inventory, which is currently empty, no items, bunch of empty gear slots. We also have some stats and skills. Well, we don't have any skills yet. We have some stats. As we gain XP, we can level these up, which will increase our character power. We're not going to worry about that today. We'll gain some XP, but we're not going to worry about using it. I've selected this guy, and I'm going to talk to him. And his name is supposed to be Old Man, but I keep forgetting to change it. Robe Lady was a previous iteration. She was a lady in a robe. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. He has given us our first item. It's actually part of a set. We're not going to worry about this in multiple items and stuff here, but there are set bonuses for equipping multiple items from the same set, and this is one, but one item is not enough to get us a set bonus. So we're going to go ahead and equip our white robe. This will increase our defense somewhat. Let's kind of bop around the world a little bit here. These enemies are aggro, so we will pull some aggro at some point, and I'll show you how the fighting works, but we can run around the world. We can jump, which is good fun. So I got a little charge bar here. We can do a huge jump. There's no jumping or falling animation. We actually took some damage because we jumped off a hill. So there's kind of a calculation for that. And some of your stats can reduce it and things like that. So whoop, boom, can have fun jumping around the world. Our stamina heals, our health does not at the moment. Stamina and mana recover slowly over time. Health, you have to find some way to recover it. We got some trees placed throughout the world. They have some LODs, so they get a bit more detailed as we get closer. You can see a bit of the terrain variance over here. This is a weird cutoff section. Nothing's been hand painted yet, but we have a little canyon here full of trees. Let's pull some aggro from one of these enemies. Let's find that guy's a little isolated over there. So we'll run over here and see if we can pull him. So there is abilities you can use in combat. There are ranged weapons. They actually spawn missiles that stick into what they hit, including terrain and enemies, for a period of time. And fast-moving enemies can sort of dodge them and things like that. I'm just going to do a little basic melee combat today, and I will use an ability. We have a default like level 1 spell called Burning Touch that we're going to use partway through the combat. But basically the way the combat works, they can aggro you, you can aggro them, but you select a target. Here he comes, and we're going to start fighting. And he's hitting me, I'm hitting him, taking a little bit of damage. I'm going to queue up an ability, so you can choose one of your mapped abilities and queue it up. And he resisted that because his magic defense is higher than my skill at this level. So you're supposed to fight a few of these guys, level up. I mean, not in the real game. These are placeholders. But fight a few of these guys, level up, get some XP, make your skill stronger, and then you can sort of mow through them. And eventually you will not be getting much XP from them. Now let's charge this guy. We'll fight him. And queue up an ability again. We'll do our spell. Boom. He resisted it again. So I'm giving up on that. We'll queue up again. there is a cooldown, so I waited the cooldown out, but if I tried to use it too fast, it would tell me it's on cooldown. There's no UI for the ability mapping and timing and things like that, but it pretty much works the way you would expect. We can fight multiple enemies at one time. That was a weird graphical bug. Some odd style, we just leveled up. Look at that. A little level up effect has gone off. We're doing a little dance, but we're now level 2, and we actually gained a skill credit as well, because in the early levels you gain skill credits pretty rapidly. So that guy's dead. He's out of the picture. Let me just kind of run around and show you a little bit more of the world. Now, I'm not going to bore you by running all the way to the end of this. The world is very, very, very large. You can see a little thing in the bottom right showing the map and the chunks. So the world is currently, I'm going to try not to pull aggro here. The world is currently one map, which is 16 by 16 chunks. So that gives you a sense of the size. The chunks, I believe, are about 120 meters now. So the world, if I did the math correctly, is about 1,920 square meters at the moment, and it's randomly populated. Now, one thing I will note, we're not going to fight these guys, but the further you get from the beginning of the game, the enemies actually get stronger, kind of in a diamond radius shape. I think it's Manhattan distance is what I used. Anyway, so if we fought some of these guys, they probably would straight up murder us, but we're going to run around. We're at the edge of the world here. I'm going to head kind of a little inlandish. So a few things to note about this is the general gameplay concept here is we're trying to build on some of the things that were really good about the game Asheron's Call. So you can probably already see a lot of influence. But, we're going to update it with kind of modern graphical capabilities and things. None of that is very impressive yet, but clearly most of the things in the world right now are composed of more than 6 triangles, so we've made some progress in that direction. Also, there were some things about that haven't aged well in terms of capabilities of the controller and pathing and things. So these enemies will all run around obstacles and terrain and dodge each other and stuff like that instead of just running in a straight line and getting stuck on buildings, and you can pepper them with arrows and that sort of thing. So the terrain types in the world currently, and you won't see a huge amount of variety here unless I go over most of the world, but there are some kind of like canyons and mountain ranges. They're technically lakes. They don't have any water in them yet. They're just mud at the base. There's 3 different types of trees, not a lot yet. You can see some kind of draw distance stuff going on there. There's also mountain ranges. I'm not going to run to a mountain range here, but those are sort of stone, and trees and enemies and things are less likely to spawn as you go higher up in elevation. And that's kind of, systems in the game. I don't know what else to tell you. We got NPCs. You can't see it right now, but that NPC technically assigned me a quest and gave me a reward. The first stage of the quest is just talking to him. So there's a whole system for quests with item rewards and XP rewards, and stages advance through talking to people, turning in items, kill quests, all that kind of stuff. As I mentioned, we have a whole level and skill progression system. We leveled up to 2. We can buy these skills. They have different abilities mapped to them. We have buffs, debuffs, combat abilities, ranged, short distance. We did a essentially melee range ability that you saw before, and we have damage over time effects. And the enemy controllers, we just fought one of them, but their AI can do things like buff each other with advantageous spells and stuff like that. Actually, let's pull one of them. You probably won't see the effects of this yet, but we're going to pull 2 of these, and you're going to notice they look at each other briefly. And there's no animation for that, but what they were doing was they were casting combat buffs on each other. So they actually get a little bit harder to hit, and but we're still kind of OP for these guys. Spell wore off, so they just cast it again. Obviously, a lot of this stuff looks kind of default here. They'll probably do it one more time before we kill both of them. Yep, that guy buffed the other one. And this guy, actually, you'll notice he didn't buff the other one this time because his health is pretty low. So he's like, screw my teammates. I'm focused on survival. if his health was still pretty high, he would still be buffing his teammate. So there's some smarts built into the system there. Let me see if I can get lucky. And yeah, I probably won't be able to get an ability off on these guys because we're farther from the start. They're higher level, and their resistance is better. There we got one. We took a big chunk of damage out of them there. I probably should have shown ranged combat because that's a bit more interesting. But yeah, just a little bit of demo of some of what's going on here. We'll kill this guy off, and we'll get him before he gets us. Let's see if we can get lucky and nuke him. Boom. No, he resisted. Okay, we got him. So we got a bunch of XP that time and straight up leveled because that guy was higher level, which is also why he took longer to fight. And we're just going to yeet ourselves off into the distance, and we're going to fall. Oh, I didn't execute the jump timing very well. We're going to fall. And we died because we took massive fall damage at the end.